What is going on, guys? It's your boy HQ420. Welcome y'all back. Another episode, Showtime with the Cube. Long time no see for Showtime with the Cube because it's been a pretty bad summer season for movies and TV shows all the way around. Um,
What did we miss? We missed a couple Godzillas and
Deadpool and Wolverine. We didn't talk about that.
Deadpool. I got mixed reviews from that one.
Did you watch it? Did you actually
No,
watch it?
no, not yet.
Okay. Okay.
It's
All
probably
right.
been
Well,
long enough as there was a good copy I could steal, probably.
yeah. When Corey finally watches that,
Or, I
we'll
mean,
discuss
ethically
that
borrow.
and how that I don't know. It didn't quite hit the mark. Okay, it didn't quite hit the mark, but that's okay. It made money though. Unlike unlike a whole bunch of other stuff that's been produced lately, it is in the $1 billion club. All right, and so which is that big of a deal anymore? I guess it is because not much reaches the $1 billion club, but with inflation and stuff, you feel like shit. I mean, there should be a lot of movies reaching the $1 billion club, but I mean, I guess people just ain't frequent in the movie theater like that.
No, it's unfortunate. I kind of, God, I just think back to like the the peak of Hollywood when people would go out and they would wear like nice clothing and they would wear a tie and it would be like an exciting event and it would always be a double feature, right? Because people didn't have phones or things to do back in the day. They could go sit and watch a movie for or two movies for 4 hours or whatever, and it was okay.
Hmm.
Life wasn't so fast paced and demanding.
Right,
I
right.
even though it's all fake and gay, it really is. It's the mystique, all that stuff of the that 40s Hollywood, but it is it's meant to be a playground, and so it's okay that um it's okay. Nation of what it wasn't really what it was. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um,
Right,
and I have the
right.
memory of that, and it's unfortunate that future generations probably won't know it. The joy of going to the theater and getting a popcorn with too much butter and an overpriced soda, right?
Some
That's
of the
gonna.
butter just rolling off your hand,
Oh God, yeah. You know,
down your arm.
like I'll never
Yeah,
forget. I'll never forget one time my parents were really it was a different era. My parents would let me when I grew up in New York, and it was about a half a mile to the movie theater in Brooklyn where I lived growing up. And when I was just a child, like 8, 9 years old, my motherfucking parents would let me walk that half mile to go to the movie theater. And I'll never forget that time I got denied tickets to Code of Silence with Chuck Norris because I was only 9 years old and I had to walk home disappointed. Never forget that.
damn. That stuck with you forever.
Forever, man.
Did it shape who you
Forever.
are today?
It did. It did. But I remember
Is
walking
that
up
the
to
way
the
you
movie
say it?
theater and I remember seeing Breakin' and
Okay.
Electric
Okay.
Boogaloo. And what else?
Okay.
I saw all those breakdancing movies back in the day. And
Okay. Electric Boogaloo. All right.
mhm. As long as that
I
was
think my
before 85. Yeah, I think that was before 85 because I moved in August of 85. My parents relocated to Florida. So it's a much safer environment.
what's crazy? That one of the movies that I actually remember going to the movie theater and watching, like one of the first movies was Star Wars: The Phantom Menace.
Man, Phantom Menace. So I remember in around, it had to have been 1980 ish. I must have been only like 4. They reissued Star Wars in the theaters. I think it was around the time that like Empire and or Return of the Jedi or one of those came out. So it was early 80s. And I remember my dad taking me. He took me to see, I saw all 3 of those in the theaters. Obviously not first run because the first run of Star Wars was in 77. I would have been 1.
Right.
I don't
Mhm.
remember that. So it must have been a reissue. But I remember going and you got to the theater and it was like such a big deal. It was such the biggest deal in the world. There was people in costumes, you know. It was just an incredible thing. You know, you don't see anything like that today. Hell, um, today's generation doesn't get much of anything. I was just flashing back to like waiting in line at midnight for like
Well, yeah.
the
Well, yeah.
burning.
During your teenage years,
Yeah, totally,
that's what you
totally.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what you did. It's like, man, we're going to the movie theater. Like there wasn't nothing streaming. Okay, you would even watch movies on regular TV where they have the commercials. You know what I'm saying? You like, oh, I ain't seen that movie. You watch it on regular TV.
They were never as good, and it was so funny because they didn't just bleep out the curse word; they would like change the
Yeah,
curse word to something, right?
yeah, mother
And so,
freaker. They call
mother
it a
freaker,
mother
yeah.
freaker.
What the fuck? What's a mother freaker? You know, it was so bad. But like, I think back to those early years of watching movies. Even like my parents, I don't know what the fuck was wrong with them. They were letting me watch the worst fucking horror movies ever made back, when I was like 9, 10 years old. Like, and everybody got
Freddy
raped
Krueger.
back in the
I was
80s.
looking at Freddy Krueger. I was looking at Freddy Krueger.
I
He was calling
remember
them bitches and all kind of stuff. I mean,
my
it's just like,
parents let me see. There was this one like about a wax museum, and like everybody got this dude just kept raping everybody in the fucking inside the wax museum, and I'm like, what the fuck are
hey,
you doing? And like
hey,
Silent Night,
they
Deadly
also,
Night.
uh-huh. Oh
He,
yeah,
he fucking
yeah,
rips her titties open and slits her throat, and I'm like, I'm only 9.
Hey, they will also let you sit in the front seat when you were 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? You
Jesus
got to be
Christ,
damn
yeah.
near. You got to be 180 pounds to sit in the front seat now. You got to be a grown ass man. It's like, you got boys sitting in the back seat, the damn 120 pounds in a booster seat. I'm like, man, we are done. Okay. I'm like, you got this grown ass man sitting in the booster seat. I was sitting there, I was like, that's how I remember. I was like, man, y'all got booster seats, and it's like, okay, I seen damn kid, he about as tall as me. I'm like, oh well, he needs to be 140 pounds. I'm like, well, fuck, he grown, man. What is he, 14? I mean, get that dude out of a booster seat, man. Oh man, so we appreciate everybody for being with us tonight. Uh, if you weren't able to catch it, catch the replay of me and Corey doing the Trump Kamala Harris breakdown. We did that last night. Okay, did a live watch party on that, so definitely go check that out. We're bringing you tonight the Rings of Power season 2. Okay, season 2. The first 4 episodes. Corey, the first thing that hit me on this is the fact that they're just trying to go ahead and get this series over with. All right,
Yeah.
they released 3 episodes the first week. It ain't been but 2 weeks. This is week 3 coming up. They said, man, this thing's gonna be done October 4th. All right, it's in a month's time. They're like, we cashed out. All right, we don't want to extend the stay. We're just gonna put this out, and we're gonna let it be what it's
Well,
gonna
see,
be.
I think
Okay.
this show, especially this season, is paradigm shifting. Man, it's like it's it's breaking molds and stuff because it's proving
Yeah.
it's proving that you can polish a turd, because this is the single most overproduced, over polished piece of garbage storyline I've ever seen made. There are certain things I love about, like the introduction. I love the intro with all that sand that
Oh yeah.
moves around. I'm like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
my God, if whoever had the creativity to make this intro was assigned to the writing details, they should fucking go do it, because it is just little things are just amazing, right? They'll show a horse like walk up to the fucking creek and start to drink, and there'll be like a sparkle in the water, and like they'll pan back, and the cinematography is beautiful, and it'll be like amazing until like this fucking Galadriel opens her motherfucking mouth, and you're like, oh my God, what is happening here?
They're talking, man, Galadriel. I
And
mean,
so what's
isn't she
up,
likable?
homeboy?
She's likable, right?
If by likable you mean I want to punch her in the face every time I see her, then yes, she's very likable. So, and then you got, what's his name? Who's the bad guy? Sauron, and what was his other name, or something like that, right? What was his other name?
Well, the other guy is what, Hillebrand,
Hildebrand.
Lord
Okay, so
Hillebrand.
why is this guy's face?
But
Can't they
now
settle on
he's
his face?
Anatar. Now he's Anatar.
Anatar. Okay, is it just me, or his face keeps changing too?
It does. They changed it. They had to change the actor for Adar. He looks different, right, from the first season. I swear they had to have.
The actor for Adar. Oh well, let's look it up.
Yeah, that's the dark elf.
I think he's the only person I actually like in this whole show yet, because you can tell that that guy is like an old school seasoned actor. I promise you, that guy spent most of his life on like Broadway and theatrical productions.
Okay.
Very good actor in general. Like I look at him and I'm like, he's just very powerful presence, you know,
Right.
wasted in this piece of garbage.
Come on, don't do him like that, man. Let's see here, top cast. I swear, unless they did a Doris makeup different,
Samuel
I swear it looks like a.
Hazeldine
Is it the same guy?
doesn't, yeah.
Oh no. Let's see,
Oh, no, he replaces Joseph
Joseph
Mall.
Mole. Yeah, I knew he looked different. I was sitting there, I'm like, man, this is a different. I'm like, Adara looks different. I'm like, hold on a second. I said, did I miss something? I about went back and looked at the last season.
Oh, yes. I see.
Yeah, it messed me up. It messed me
Yeah.
up right out the gate. It was like, Lord Adar.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I should have given a fuck enough to notice, and I didn't.
Make that details, Corey. Well, look, when you're talking about being overproduced, Corey, and I didn't realize these numbers were like that. Do you want to give a roundabout number of what season 2 production costs was for the Rings of Power?
It was like 50 million or something.
How much? The budget. The budget.
I said 80 million.
Oh, 80 million.
I mean, I said 100 million.
700 million.
You fucking lying.
But that's what this says. It said the first season was 465.
Oh. It seems as though the war racket
Is
has
Google lying?
fallen over. This is sort of money. This is some sort of. It might be, dude. Google might be lying. They told me that there was Fish albums that don't exist. Okay.
This is AI overview. Is AI wrong?
Oh,
they may be wrong. After a $1 billion, after a budget of $1 billion, this is on Reddit. But these two seasons are $1 billion.
This is a money laundering operation.
Episodes.
Money laundering operation.
16 episodes. $1 billion. Now, this is going to get a third season. I think that's all we're getting. We're getting 3 seasons of this.
Can they take a couple more years before delivering it?
They will. Don't worry. I mean, with this budget, hell, I think you have to. Don't you have to do some type of fundraising?
This is like reminds me of like nouveau. It's like nouveau cuisine, right? Like where you go and you get like a quarter size, piece of fucking fish on a cracker, and it costs you like $800. Like it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You get like 2 episodes, and it's 700 mil.
Yeah. So at 700 million, we're talking about close to $100 million per episode for 1 hour of footage. It seems like the money could be better spent. That's all I'm saying. Buddy folks starving out here. There's places they ain't got running water. All right.
So you got to think that includes like their catering and stuff. And I bet you these guys are eating like,
You think that caviar,
filet mignon, all that shit. 5 meals a day, 6 meals a day.
How much for caviar?
But this is
like
clearly
a delicacy,
right? Laundering. Like these are just outrageous numbers. Like imagine telling somebody these numbers like in the 1920s. They'd look at you like you're fucking crazy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so 1 to 2 ounces of caviar per person. Let's see what we got up here. Oh, so okay, that can range anywhere from $182 to $6,096. So they're probably on the 6,000 range. Probably get caviar on their filet mignon. But Wagyu beef. You think they got Wagyu?
Hang on a second.
In the top cut.
Spending. Yes, it is. You got. That's like where they hand massage the fucking beef and jerk it off before they.
That sounds bad.
I think that's where they extract the steak from the living animal and let you eat it so it can like regrow more or something.
That's the top. That's the top beef now, right? And then Wagyu. Is there something more expensive than the Wagyu? What's the best beef? Isn't that right? I don't know. Is this correct?
Yeah, I think so. What's it say? What's the AI tell you?
Is it Wagyu?
Well, the AI may make some
It's
shit
telling
up.
me something.
I want to know what AI says.
Oh well, it's telling me the cut of it. But let's see, Wagyu type. Top beef. Let's see. What's Japanese Wagyu? Okay. Okay, so we can get right here a Kai Wagyu A5 Japanese ribeye steak. Um Amazon to deliver this thing to you. It's a little high though. It looks
Oh
like a
my
big tip,
god,
$349.
AI is
Yeah.
giving me like a fucking peer reviewed paper on it. I don't even want AI, and they just give it to me. I'm like,
did they sit
keep it,
did the
keep it.
WHO get in on that?
I don't even know. It says Wagyu beef quality debate based on the provided search results. Opinions on whether Wagyu is the best beef vary. Here's the summary. And they got like
This
16
is true.
pages. In
It's true. This is
conclusion,
guys.
I'll just skip to the
Oh,
conclusion.
okay.
In conclusion, while Wagyu is widely regarded as an exceptional and luxurious type of beef, whether it is the quote best beef ultimately depends on personal taste preferences and criteria for value. Yeah, I mean, you might just like some fucking pounded skirt steak or something and think it's better than
Yeah,
this
you might
200.
like Texas Roadhouse. There's
Right.
crack in Texas Roadhouse steaks because, but that place is packed every single day. All right. I mean,
What?
they might be getting some of their proceeds from the Texas Road. Does Amazon own Texas Roadhouse too? I mean,
Oh, if
because
not,
if
they
you're
will.
paying, yeah, yeah, shortly, in short order. Because I mean, Corey, as far as budgets go, man, I think we're getting out of control, ain't we? Aren't we getting out of control for a
Yeah,
TV
but see,
series?
we're getting out of control in everything. If you haven't noticed, it's part of this plan to destroy the middle and
Okay.
lower class, and even the rich people are starting to suffer a little bit. I mean, they're having to go and get the fucking, they're downgrading. I just saw a video today where it showed that people who are usually shopping at Whole Foods and places like that have downgraded to Walmart. So Walmart, in times when things are bad, they do well because the richer people who go to the more expensive stores start going to Walmart, and the poorer people, who
Hmm.
gives a fuck about them? They don't spend that much anyway, right? So, but
They using the EBT anyway.
Walmart's booming right now, and that's because of the shift in the people who are frequenting Walmart. People with more money who used to go elsewhere are now going to Walmart because they broke ass bitches for their own, you know, income range. So, 100
Yeah.
grand a year
So
don't go
I mean,
as far as it used to.
so how many people now that Amazon may be offsetting this high cost with well no they got to pay the NFL too. Shit, because they got Thursday night football now on Prime. Um, damn, dude, this is a lot of money, man. I mean, how what kind of? I see why they got ads on there on Amazon Prime now, but they had to. They didn't have no
Um,
choice. They spent $1 billion on 2 seasons. You know what I'm saying?
I still ain't figured out how Amazon Prime works. I mean, I've been with Amazon Prime since it was like $10 a month. It is the best money you can spend every month. I get 3 or 4 packages a month. It more than pays for itself, like 10
Oh
every
yeah.
month. And then you get the fucking videos, and then you get limited music. You can listen to music stuff, all the music catalog, but not
Hmm.
whole albums. You can listen to individual songs and stuff. So it gives you like, and then because I had Amazon, I got a fucking year of Grubhub premium for free. And what else did I get? I got a, either a year or 6 months of Instacart, which I use
Oh,
somewhat
damn.
frequently. Yeah, just because I had Amazon, they had deals, and those companies, you can just connect your accounts and then you get
Hmm.
the shit included. So now Amazon's like $17.99 a month, I think. And it's still the best $17.99 a month I spend, which is unfucking real.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. Amazon gives you a free subscription to somebody who's on Twitch every month. So they pay that
I
person.
saw that. I saw that. That's
Hmm.
do they get do they got people at the Federal Reserve? They just printing money in the back of Amazon. What's the fucking
Them
deal
and
here?
Disney. Them and Disney.
I
They
mean,
got to be.
are they sitting on like $1 trillion cash money? I mean, what the fuck? Seems like a trillion ain't what a trillion used to be, man.
I ain't quite it. So let's go ahead and jump into this season two.
Oh, do we
First
have to?
episode.
Can't we
Yeah, I
talk
know.
about the Wagyu beef more?
We're doing so good. This first episode, we actually go back in time. All right, looks like right after Morgoth is defeated, Sauron is addressing the orc army, and that's where we see Adar take him out. If you remember from the first season, when Galadriel asked Adar, where's Sauron? He's like, I killed him. Because Adar does believe that he killed Sauron. All right, during that time, he stabbed him in the back of the neck with the crown, and then the orcs continued to stab him while he was down. But there was like a beam of light that burst out of him, and his body disintegrated. And then something weird happened, like his blood started eating shit. Um, Now, Corey, I know you know a little bit more about the the background stuff as far as the some of the books and things of the Lord of the Rings. Is this how Sauron changes shape? This is like when he
You know,
dies,
it's been
or
20
or
years. It's been 20 years since I've read the books, but I read the trilogy and I read Hobbit and part of the Silmarillion because that's hard to read. But
Mhm.
I don't recall that scene at all ever happening in the books. There's really Sauron is kind of a mystery figure.
Yeah, he's
So
Sauron's an angelic being, if I'm correct. Pretty much a fallen angel, right? Kind of.
I really don't recall the details on what he was. But in this show, at least, they portray it as he's more than just a man because they don't really. I
Right.
didn't feel that. I didn't feel that was overly clarified. And honestly, the first couple episodes had me a little confused because of the guy's face changed, his name changed. It took me a minute to figure out which timeline they were in. That um, Hilbrand was actually not back in time. He was actually in the current. What they were showing us was after everything that had occurred in the last
Hmm.
season, as opposed to a flashback. It took me like an episode to figure that out because they didn't make it overly clear. And I'm just glad we made it like a couple episodes before we got to them stupid little short non-Hobbit things.
The Harfoots, man. Come on, cuz Harfoots. I gotta get the names right. Now, what this is saying from the one wiki to rule them all. Which I guess this is the source we're gonna go off of. Sauron is part of the Maiar, which were primordial spirits created to help the Valar first shape the world. So yeah, so he's a primordial spirit that can take the form of whatever. I think somebody at work I was talking to them and they were like, yeah, one time Sauron, because I think he's deep into the lore. I think he said Sauron took the form of like a bat at one point in time. That's what he told me. I was like, oh, okay. So he was like, there is a little precipice for him shape shifting per se. But I thought it was a little weird because I mean, it looked like he was dead. The blood was flowing through, and then it looks like a living organism needs to come in contact with the blood, and Sauron's blood is able to devour that organism, and it gives him strength. And then he eats the woman that was in the little wagon, and he turns into a man. I didn't quite understand that one, but I but I went with it. I was like, okay, I got
Right.
you. I got you. All right, so we're there. Um, Corey, I got a question for you because later on we see um, Baby Orc. You know what I'm saying? Nursing, and it seems like it maybe a female orc. Uh, from what I understand, it never talked about any female orcs or orcs having like a family. Am I correct there?
You are correct there, sir. And the orcs were kind of manufactured, is the
Right.
thing, as we saw in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, right? When they're like hatching them. And remember when he makes the Urukai and he hatches them, the big orcs. Remember the fighting orcs?
Hmm.
But here's another problem, because the orcs are also supposed to be, as per the lore, fallen elves. They were once
Right.
high
Hmm.
elves who are no longer elves, right? And so that's kind of why when he says, when he's kind of lecturing them, he's like, the elves will never accept you, right? Because that's what he was referring to.
Hmm. Right. So uh, I I think they're trying to bring a little bit, maybe a little bit too much of a human element to the orcs, because in all of the movies, as far as the Lord of the Rings movies and even in the Hobbit movies, at no point in time do I feel some type of human emotional element to orcs. They're just kind of like there to kill and devour, like pretty
Right.
much.
They're mindless automaton, disposable warriors.
Yeah, now they have
No, they're not
hierarchies.
geniuses, but there were
They
different
have
classes of orcs.
Yeah,
They
they
were
have
certainly,
hierarchies and things
yeah.
of that nature. Um, and actually, in the I don't know if you ever played the video game Shadow of Mordor. I don't know if you ever played that.
Um,
I played the first one,
I have what?
which is not canon. Which is not canon. They say that
Right.
the game's not
Um,
canon
Actually, let me look here.
because
Um,
that is centered around.
Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor. I have
Yeah. Hmm.
installed on my system. I've only played it very little, because it doesn't run very well on my system.
Okay. Yeah. So
But
the premise of that game is that there's a guy who's killed pretty much by the orcs. Sauron sent to kill him and his family, and the ghost of Celebrimbor uh, takes over his body, resurrects him, and he uses uh, Celebrimbor's essence to take over orcs, so he can do mind control. And so you're trying to move up the ranks. You take mind control of different orcs and you move them up the ranks until you're able to get to the top, and that's how you're able to go and fight the final battle against Sauron. Um, so yeah, but they say that's not canon as far as that video game. But it
it's
was
hard to
pretty
know
cool.
what canon is.
Well, I think just his books. I mean, I believe he went in pretty good detail. I mean, he made whole languages and everything, which
Mm.
is another thing I think is kind of weird. Like you actually need to turn, if you're watching this, you need to turn captions on, because at times when they start speaking in Elvish, and if you got captions on, it will actually put down at the bottom of the screen what they've actually said in English.
What?
Yep. Hmm. And I didn't realize that because, uh, and Corey, just let me know if this is the case, but I've been running into an issue right here recently where, for some reason, the audio production on the movies, like, it's too quiet. And then you get to something that's loud and it's just like overly loud because you try to turn it up because people are whispering the whole time. I'm like, dude.
Right. I experienced that a lot when Blu-ray was a thing. Blu-ray had
Hmm.
some real high fidelity audio, and you were constantly having to turn that shit up and down. It was a pain in the ass.
Hmm. Yeah. Guys, that's a tip for you, because at times the like different creatures will start speaking in different languages, and so if you turn your captions on, it'll actually show you what they said in English, so you actually know what they're talking about. They didn't just say something random. It's actually means something. Um. So yeah, that's for the people out there. Um. What else we get in this first episode? Galadriel, Elrond. Of course, this is fresh off of her finding out that Hildebrand is Sauron. Okay, that she got played like a puppet. All right, but Elrond is firmly against the rings. Okay, he believes they're evil, even though their tree is dying. And if I'm correct, when the tree dies, if they don't leave, they become mortal. Right? Isn't that the way it is? when that final leaf falls. Like
Yeah, they got to
they stay
go
there.
to some other land. They got to go to the other land, which they never really talk about what that other land is. It's the land that
Right.
Bilbo and Frodo end up going to at the end of the movies, and it's never really talked about where that other land is.
Yeah, it's the one where Galadriel was supposed to go actually in the first season, but she jumped off the boat in the middle of the water. Um, you know, for reasons because she was going to kill Sauron. She's
Right,
like, he's still alive.
and just happened to get picked up by Sauron.
That happenstance. I mean, you just like you would talk about a chain of events. You know what I'm saying? And it did something in this that I'm not always a fan of, which is go back and recount an episode from last season because it pretty much showed like Sauron going through his whole stage where he was on the raft and all that stuff. It just did it from a different angle. So I was like, okay, I guess you gotta cover up a few minutes there. Um, but we see Adar with some of the people he's captured as far as that last battle that they had with the humans, Arondir, Browning. So they show him and he's branding the humans, so they're pretty much his slaves. And they don't really capture Hillibrand. He kind of turns himself in, Hillibrand Sauron, and obviously, you know what I'm saying. He's a master manipulator. Okay, um, because he probably should have been taken out again multiple times. Like at this point in time, they're trying to uh, torture him, get information from him, and somehow he convinces them to let him go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he convinces them of that. I'm like, but he's very good at convincing people of doing exactly what he wants them to do. I'm like that. I mean, everybody just got trust in this guy. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that's why a lot of politicians and stuff stay clean cut because you're more apt to trust somebody who's cleanly cut. Did you know
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So when I see somebody clean cut, I automatically don't trust them.
What?
Yeah, I'll go the other way. Yeah, a bunch of clean cut folks. Man, I need to see some scruff, man. You know what I'm saying? I need to. I mean, it seems like you've been in the same struggle I've been in. You know what I'm saying? I see folk be looking like Gavin Newsom. You know what I'm saying? And my man last night was it Dave, whatever, that was doing the debate. I'm like, y'all look like shysters to me. You know what I'm saying? So anybody clean cut, they look like shysters to me. Of course, all the elves are clean cut. The only person who's got a beard on here is the dwarves. Even the women got beards. Okay,
Which I find offensive.
what the women dwarves with
Yeah.
beards?
Yep.
She got a straight up sideburn down the damn. She got old mutton chops. Damn, my man's wife.
I thought
So
women
that's pretty.
dwarves are not
That's
supposed
pretty
to be
good.
seen. I thought in the lore, women dwarves are never seen. Like it's just a bunch of dudes
Well,
all the time.
we'll accept this one because she's a dwarf of color. Come on now, Corey, stay with me now. Don't. I mean, stay with me. Don't. We got the dwarf of color. They had to make sure. They had to make sure they slid that in there. Okay. The black woman. All right.
So the dwarves evolved in the mountain. They
Mm-hmm.
avoided the sunlight. They should be so goddamn fucking pale that they're transparent. You should be able to see their organs and shit when you meet them. That's how fucking white they should be.
Damn.
These people,
I
they just,
mean,
they just ignore the shit. Like I have a problem. There should not be black Vulcans. I'm sorry. There should not be black Vulcans because the climate on that planet should produce more transparent people like the Swiss and the fucking Norwegian. For reals. Can't ignore that
for
stuff
reals,
because
for
the
reals.
nerds will
Man,
nerd out on it.
okay, okay. I can be down with that. Now, at the end of this first episode, um, well, Elrond tries to escape with the rings. Takes him to somebody he trusts, which he accidentally drops him, and then he looks at him and says, "Oh shit,
And
damn, getting rid
hey,
of these rings. I'm gonna take him to the High King." I was like,
Did we ever
Damn.
determine whether or not they're sticking to the lore on how the rings came about? Because I don't remember the elves making the rings. I remember Sauron made the rings to give him out when he was still somewhat trustworthy, I guess, somewhere, and got him to put the ring on. But like, I don't understand this current iteration of how the rings were made.
Uh,
Sauron made him
well,
with with what's his face,
what with Celebrimbor?
Celebrimbor.
Yeah. Well, it says in the what I'm reading from here in the Second Age, Sauron frequently disguised himself in a fair form, which he looks like a damn elf now. Like he went from looking like a human to damn having elf ears. I'm like, hold on, fuck on a second. I mean, it's just like I definitely ain't trusting no shapeshifter. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, motherfucker, shapeshifting. I'm like, oh, not today, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling the guards in. Man, to sit out in the rain and wait for me. And he had that pitiful look. Well, I guess I'll just go home then. Yes, you will. All right. And if you turn around, I'm gonna tell to throw that spear through your chest.
And so
I'm not playing
again,
with you, okay?
how did Galadriel's message not make it to Celebrimbor?
I
She
think
said to,
the
not to
those people
associate
died
with
in the
him, and so
woods.
he didn't. But why didn't she tell him that it was motherfucking Sauron?
Oh well,
That
she
would have
didn't
solved
tell
the whole
anybody.
thing
Well, she didn't tell anybody.
because it would have
Here's
exposed
the
her ultimate
premise.
failure.
Yeah, the premise is that Elrond actually found her little scroll or whatever, and found out that uh that guy wasn't actually a king at all, a king of men. That he was Sauron, and so they actually sent that to Celebrimbor with a message saying, "Hey, watch out for this cat because this is Sauron." But those people got killed on the way. They got killed by those whatever that shit was in the woods. Those ghosts, the wood ghost.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure what that was, but no. It says Sauron did frequently disguise himself in a fair form and took the false identity of Anatar, Lord of Gifts, among the elves and in the kingdom of Numenor. All right. So so I guess that's true. Hold on. Let's see. Did Sauron create the rings? Hold on. Is that right?
Well, what's
Uh
the
s-
old school
uh
lore?
Embor create the because this is a lot here. Okay. So secretly without Sauron's knowledge, Celebrimbor also forged three rings for the elves. Uh, let's see. The greatest and fairest of the rings of power. The three rings were thus free of Sauron's corrupt influence, which is totally different in this show because he created the three rings for the elves with Sauron in this one because they were mixing the mithril with other elements. So they
Right.
kind of did a flip flop on that. So it just says that Celebrimbor. Okay, so Celebrimbor himself created the three rings on his own. So the three elf rings right now, technically he did that on his own without Sauron's knowledge. So
And this is as per the old
technically
school
these are
lore, not the new lore.
yeah. This is the old school lore. So technically these were supposed to be outside of Sauron's grasp. These particular rings. Um, which it said he gave the Galadriel, sent the other two to Gilgalad and Ceradan. So Gilgalad is if I'm correct, he's the High King. High King, yep, High King Gilgalad. So that follows kind of the lore there.
Okay.
But Sauron wasn't supposed to be part of those three rings. And this is according to what we got here. Okay,
But
so
Celebrimbor, he ends up being a bad guy in the old school lore.
uh
Like, does he become a
hold
bad
on.
guy?
I'm not exactly sure. Now, we got here the seven and the nine. Celebrimbor and others forged the seven and the nine rings with the help of Sauron, who was disguised as Anatar or Lord of Gifts. So it's kind of following what is supposed to be happening right now. kind of to a T, which is going to be the rest of these rings. And then Sauron himself secretly makes the one ring in the fires of Mount Doom to control the other rings. Not the three elf rings because it can't control those, but um, the seven and the nine rings, which is why uh, those kings or whatever turn into those like
The wraiths.
the creatures. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's technically the lore. So they kind of fidgeted that just a touch with having Sauron have some influence on the original three rings that went to the elves. So Elrond is kind of suspicious of that because he's like, those rings have influence over you, and Sauron's touched them. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know how they're going to get around that per se, because in the Lord of the Ring movies, if I'm correct, the elves still had their rings. Didn't Galadriel and on they still had their rings, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I'm not sure how they're going to. I guess they're going. I guess to make this make sense with what we've already got, they would probably have to do some type of cleansing of those rings potentially. You think that could be the case?
I don't know. This all comes
Cleansing of
from the
his influence.
Silmarillion. None of this comes from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This all comes from the Silmarillion, which is like an encyclopedia of.
Hmm.
It's not really. How do I say this? It's not really short stories, but it's not really like encyclopedia entries. It's kind of in between. But it tells like the story of the entire all the ages. You know what I mean? So it's very condensed.
Mm, got you. So we're going to. It might not be probably towards the end of this season. We'll probably see Sauron start to create the One Ring because they've got to have the time where he's actually wielding the power of the ring that he makes at Mount Doom, and then Isildur is actually the one who defeats him, cuts the ring off his hand, and then that kind of drains him of his power here in Middle Earth. So that's what I'm figuring will probably have to happen. I just don't know how they're going to do the ins and outs. And like
And what kind of time frame do
depending
we
on what
have?
you.
I mean, that's not all going to happen this season. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to happen by the end of next season.
Well, from what? Okay, so especially in the last episode, um, he has convinced Celebrimbor to send word to the dwarves that hey, we've got a solution for y'all's problem because the problem that the dwarves are having right now is that quote unquote the mountains are not listening to them anymore, so they don't have any light in the mountains. Um, I didn't know you could sing to the mountains and it just open up holes and the light come through it. That didn't make any sense to me, but I was like, okay, I mean, I'm gonna go with it because this is fantasy world. But I'm like, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. So I mean, and of course you've got what happened with the tree with the elf's trees. The minute they put the rings on, all the leaves came back on the trees. The darkness went away. So we've got proof of work here. All right, and that's
Right,
what they're
right.
going to need to take back to King Durin. All right, they're going to need proof of work, and we've got some proof that these things could work to actually save their people. Because of course they need the light for grain and things of that nature. So I believe that we're going to see the forging of these rings, um, of all of them, and I think probably in the last episode we'll see Sauron at Mount Doom, actually forging the last ring, and then in season three, I could believe that we could see uh, the dwarves and the kings of men getting those rings, and then Sauron using his ring to control those guys, and then you have the battle.
Well, I wonder
What do you
how
think?
long
I think
between
I'm
he
there.
manufactured the ring How long between when he manufactured the ring and when it got cut off his hand?
You see, I don't know. There's a battle though. I mean, we do know that.
Is it like he
So
goes in there, he forges the ring, takes control of them, walks outside, and then the battle happens, and then they cut his finger off? I mean, does he have
it's
this
not
shit for like
quite
10
like
minutes?
that. It's not quite like that. I said, man, okay, 15 minutes later, the ring gets cut off my hand. All right, cool. So that didn't work out. It's like I don't think it's like that, man. Not at all. My goodness. Corey, let's talk a little bit about. We've gotten into Sauron. We understand what his intentions are. He's kind of stroked the ego of Celebrimbor. You know what I'm saying? That's what he did. He is very cunning in his tactics as far as the way he manipulates people, and so he knew exactly what to do with Celebrimbor. Um, as far as also hiding the fact that he's making more rings or attempting to make more rings as they brought him Mithril. So he stroked the ego of Celebrimbor, getting him on his side. So we're seeing that particular thing play out. Let's jump right over right quick to your favorite people in this series, the Harfoots. Okay, the Harfoots.
So they pop up in what, episode 3?
Yeah, I thought they weren't going to show him, and I was like, good. Uh, we got Nori, and can we just call my man Gandalf already?
Well, see, the first season, I
He's
felt like
he's
they
the
were trying to
stranger.
make it.
He's the stranger.
They were trying to make it a mystery on who he really was because they were. I think they were going to have a twist on whether he was really Gandalf or not. But that's pretty much past. That's
Is
long
he?
past.
He's Gandalf, right? They
You
were
got
like,
to
"Oh,
be.
you'll know your name when it comes." It's just like
You got to be Gandalf. He has to be
so.
Gandalf.
So he still can't control um his actual powers, and this would kind of make sense of why he's got a thing for like little people. You know what I'm saying? That was Gandalf. That was always his thing. Man, I love the little people. Well, he loved the little people because they helped him early on.
That's
The
some weird
Harfoots.
fucking. It's some weird secret pedo language.
Oh my God, Cor- it is. Oh man, so they're being followed through the desert, um, by this clan of pretty much assassins, mercenaries, and then we've got the Dark Wizard. Okay, which we don't know much about. We just know that if he teams up with Sauron, then it's over. I mean, that's what they told us.
Right, but we don't know
You
who
know what
that
I'm
person
saying? So
is.
this, yeah, it's just they just keep calling him the Dark Wizard, and that's like his actual name. Like if you go and you look this up on IMDb, he's just
And
the Dark
they
Wizard.
cannot be talking about Saruman because Saruman did not fall out of favor and become a bad guy until much
Hmm.
later. So
Yeah,
at
way
this point in
later, way
time,
later.
Saruman is not the bad guy. He's still a good guy at this point in the lore. So we
Yeah,
don't
and
know
what
what
we
he's
got to
up to.
realize these beings or these wizards are part of the Ishtar. Isn't that correct? I think
Oh, that
that's
I don't
right.
know.
Gandalf, I believe that's what he is. Gandalf, I think he's Ishtar. Ishtar. Let's see. Okay, Istari. All right, which is just pretty much a word that translates into a wizard. So the Istari are powerful angelic beings or Maiar who took the form of men to intervene in the affairs of Middle Earth. So I guess technically Sauron would be technically like a wizard per se, because he's part of that same kind of angelic being uh, thing with the Maiar. So yeah, so Gandalf was one of the most prominent Istari, along with Saruman the White and Radagast the Brown. All right, well, there it is. So yeah, Saruman was later because if I'm correct, didn't they speak where Saruman and Gandalf they were allies at one point in time, if I'm correct.
Yes, for a long time.
Yeah, and then
And
Saruman
there
gets
might have even
corrupted by
been
by
might,
Sauron. Hmm.
might have even been a little bit of a teacher-student relationship there to some degree between Saruman
Hmm.
and Gandalf.
Hmm. Now we've got they actually meet up with Tom Bombadil, and I feel like I remember somebody saying something about Tom Bombadil before,
Yeah, I
like
think
he was a guy who
he's supposed to
like the
be. When you read it in the book, he see. It's weird that he even threw him in here because he's such an in passing character, but he's he's supposed to be basically the embodiment of like Mother Nature. He was there before any of the trees were there, and he was there to guide it all along. That's kind of what Tom Bombadil is. He's sort of a symbolic figure in the
hmm
book. Doesn't really do much, and it was really kind of weird for him to throw him in there in the first place. But yeah, so Tom Bombadil being thrown in here is rather strange because he doesn't help you. He doesn't come to anyone's aid, doesn't give anyone information. He's just like, oh, I'm Tom Bombadil. Why do I want to do anything else besides be Tom Bombadil, right? That's kind of his thing.
Yeah, it even says this on Wiki that he never took an open stance against the Dark Lords. Even though he seemed like he was a good guy, he was like,
He's
yeah, I
neutral.
mean, I'm a good
He's
guy, but
nature.
I'm not.
Nature is both good and bad, right? So nature can be all things, and that
Mm.
was Tom Bombadil. He was just, didn't affect him any. He would be there no matter what.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, it almost seems like in this they've got Tom Bombadil being in there. It's almost like a teacher for the Stranger. I'm not going to call him Gandalf yet. We'll still call him the Stranger for now. You think he'll be Gandalf by the end of
I don't know. Who
this
the fuck
season?
knows? Can't predict
I
with
mean,
these fucking shitty writers.
I mean, you think he'd be? I mean, I feel like he's got to be Gandalf by this point in time. All right. I feel like that somebody because one of my buddies back in the day, but he used to love Lord of the Rings. He's like, oh yeah, and Tom Bombadil, he seen the ring, and he was just like, oh yeah, ring, and just tossed it back to him, which kind of everybody else was like taken aback by the ring. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's like I need to put it on my finger. And who else did that? God, man, who was the Hobbit? Who was Frodo's not not father, grandfather?
Um,
Who was the Hobbit?
the Hobbit was Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, he kind of had a similar approach with the ring, yeah, the one ring. He's just
Right.
like, bah, it's just a ring, yeah. I mean, so it's kind of interesting how the ring would have power over some people and not over others.
Yes. Yes, I agree. But I think it did have power over him at times. There were times when he wanted to give into it, but knew he couldn't.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he just kind of used it just strategically, just kind of the. He's like, oh, I'm in a shit situation. Let me put this on because I know I'll go
Right.
eventually.
Right. But he did that at times when I think he didn't understand the ring as much as the more he wore it, the more he understood the gravity of wearing it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So we're figuring that, and of course, Bombadil tells of the stranger, if the Dark Wizard and Sauron, if they team up together, then we're fucked. I mean, that's pretty much what he said. That's what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
Um, I'm the Harfoots are kind of just there.
The
They
only
really
reason they're
don't do
there,
anything.
they're filler, and they line to the previous stories where you had to have a hobbit. You know what I mean? So that's all it is. That's all it is.
Is that
They're
it?
there. They're placeholders and a callback to a better time.
That's pretty good. Well, yeah, because I mean, they really don't do much but just kind of like talk. It's like, oh,
Right.
you can control your magic. We're here to help you. We're family. It's just kind of
And so ultimately, we find out that these Harfoots been wandering forever. They don't have a homeland, and it turns out that the pattern that they're roaming in happens to coincide with some shiznit on a map. Did you get that?
yeah. I got it loosely.
Loosely. I said loosely because they threw it at you,
I
and
was like,
you're like,
what?
what? Right, exactly. So you kind of know that these people are just wanderers, right? And migratory. But they never really No, here's the deal. They never developed Harfoots enough for anyone to give a fuck about why they're wandering, right? Like, not once have I asked myself, why are these fucks wandering? I was like, I don't give a fuck why they're wandering. Fuck them, right? So, um, that's the
Right.
problem. We didn't have enough character development to give a fuck about why they were wandering for this to have any impact. If they actually had done some why are they wandering kind of build ups, then this might have some impact. But it didn't because the wandering didn't. The wandering was who they were, right? And so
Right.
hopefully we'll learn in the coming episodes what the pattern is that they're fucking roaming in and what that map was for. And it's got something to do with Mordor and the rings and everything because, god damn it, everything does, everything just has to because this is how it is.
Now the Harfoots, they are hobbits. Okay, they're part of three breeds of hobbits, which is Harfoots,
Are they hobbits or
Fallowhides,
are
and
they part of the river folk?
well, no, that's what this says. It said okay. So I looked up because the ones that they ran across in the last episode were the stores. They thought they were Harfoots as well, but they called themselves
Mm-hmm.
stores. But they're still hobbits. So the three breeds of hobbits were stores, Harfoots, and Fallowhides. All right, and Smeagol was a store. So Smeagol was technically a hobbit.
Oh, is that a rewriting of history?
I mean, that's what this says up here, bud.
I think that might be some bullshit because even in the movies, they talk about he was one of the river folk who was related to the hobbits, but was not a hobbit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, he's a store. Yeah, a breed of hobbit.
no. That sounds like some bullshit. This is some fucking Mandela effect nonsense.
Well, look,
I
okay,
ain't
so it
buying it.
says among the hobbits, well, listen to this. Among the hobbits, the stores were heavier and broader in build with larger hands and feet. They most resembled men and were the friendliest to them.
And they're not hobbits.
Stores were the
They're
only hobbits. They said they were the only hobbits who normally grew facial hair.
because the hobbits referred to them as the river folk. So obviously the hobbits
Yeah,
didn't
it
see
said,
them as hobbits.
yeah. Well, no, stores preferred flatlands and riversides. Harfoots lived in the mountain foothills. Fallowhides who lived in the forest. So that's right, a store.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. Let's move on.
I just read it to you though.
I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Oh my god, guys, you see what I got to deal with? It's okay. it's not, you don't want to believe that Smeagol is a hobbit, a
No,
store.
he's one of the river folk. The river folk are never truly defined in any of the previous books until all of a sudden the internet has an answer. Fuck off, internet.
The internet's got an explanation, man.
I don't want to hear it. This is some rewriting of history
Damn.
shit that didn't happen until like 2012 by some fucking college kid. I don't want to hear about it. No, this is not part of this. This is not canon. So fucking eat a dick.
Damn. All right, so let's jump over into the men of of this story. We've got Isildur,
There's like no tough men
who
in this
was
story. In the fucking movies, we had like fucking what was his name? The Ranger. Fucking guy who went on to
oh
be
yeah,
king. What was his name? I forget. Began with an A, I think. But he was a tough, manly man, right? None of the men in this fucking show are fucking tough or manly men. They're fucking a bunch of fucking beta males. Like, fuck these guys. These guys wouldn't make it 2 fucking seconds in a fight with an orc.
bud. I mean, no, they fought pretty well.
Then you got
We got to remember.
the return of the black elf. He's a beta plus, I would say. He's somewhere between a beta and alpha. He could use some more training, but he's back and he's
Okay,
cool.
okay, yeah. So you had Boromir, you had Aragorn, okay, who was
Aragorn, yeah,
bigger, yeah, Aragorn. Uh, so I mean, yeah, they were pretty manly men. Ain't no doubt about that. But that was a different time. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That was a different time, different age. But we've got Isildur. Of course, his father believes that his son is dead. They have left and went back to Numenor. All right, and we've got a little political stuff going on over there at Numenor. A little Game of Thrones action going on over there. Were you intrigued at all? by this little side quest we got going on there. Of course, we know this is going to lead to the downfall of Numenor. That place gets flooded out. But it almost it's almost like Numenor is like a first world country, and then Middle Earth's like a third world country. Because the Sildor was like, yeah, we got running water in all our houses. What y'all got? Not shit. Y'all got a damn drink doo doo water. I mean, it's kind of like how on the high horse. Can't we
Hmm.
say that?
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
On the high horse. So, what's your thoughts on the side quest with the power struggle in Numenor?
I don't know where it's going. I don't remember this from any of the lore. I don't remember a power struggle. Um, she was seen as an outsider because she was only half related to the crown. I think is what the problem was.
Hmm.
And so
And I believe they said if she was blinded, technically she was supposed to step down, something
right,
like that.
correct,
Somebody was
correct.
saying
Because
that.
she was, if you're injured or weak or fucking retarded or whatever the fuck it was, you couldn't, if you couldn't do it because you were fucking, you demonstrate weakness, right? And so yeah, she couldn't do it. But then all of a sudden, the big fucking eagle comes in and goes, "I think she's the one." Which I really didn't understand the real significance of that, but that was some sort of symbolic thing that happened. The big old eagle, that should have flown
Oh
everybody
yeah.
to
Oh
Mordor
well,
in
it
10
showed
minutes.
favor to that guy. Yeah, to the dude.
Right, supporting
That's who it
him.
showed favor to. Yeah. Hmm.
And so, but then, yeah, so you take it from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not exactly sure either because it was just kind of weird. Like the eagle just showed up and was just sitting there, and he
It
just walks
seemed as
towards it,
though
and it's just
the,
like,
the eagle was something from their past. It was an omen from their past that had happened before, is what I gathered from that scene. And it meant something. And so,
right. And while the queen regent, if I'm correct, that's her name.
right.
Um, while she was away, the young lady had went in there, which her name escapes me right this second. But she had went and stole the elvish orb where you can kind of like see into the future or see like maybe not so much see into the future, but it almost gives you like a dreamscape of what could happen. And so they have they have beef with the elves, okay? And I believe this beef with the elves, if I'm correct, is back from the original fight that they had with Morgoth. Is that correct?
Yes,
I
I
think that's
believe
correct.
so. I believe that is correct.
Yeah. Which I don't know. The more I think about it, I I don't know if they should have did the Rings of Power. It probably would have been a little bit more interesting to do Morgoth.
Um, yes, but I bet you they looked at. Well, I would say, God damn it, this is so. Never mind. I was gonna say they probably looked at budget, and that would have been way more expensive. But they spent how much did we say? Like,
So they spent they spent $1.1 billion so far.
did everybody get their own mansion as a dressing room? I mean, is that what they did? Like, did you get a car?
Something like
Did you get a Rolls Royce to drive you from your fucking mansion to your fucking to the set every day? I mean, like, this is laundering. Nothing costs that much. You could be the best motherfucking graphic designer in goddamn Hollywood, making the best Hollywood fucking graphics and movies and all that shit. And bitch, you don't even make $1 million a year. You're somebody's bitch. Okay, so I don't want to hear that this shit costs hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Those guys work like in little cubicles and they're whipped like they were in goddamn, China or something with suicide nets. I mean, those fucking guys don't make a lot of money. They're taken advantage of by annual contracts. So, um,
right,
I don't know where the fuck that
right.
money goes, bro. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's
Like,
absolutely insane.
you could get us out of the fucking federal deficit with goddamn that kind of money. Fuck.
Yeah, no, just send that up there. It should be paid off already. I mean, y'all into throwing money away. Uh, but uh, but yeah, so it's been revealed to the people of Numenor that the queen and the former king has been using elvish magic. Okay, and so the people feel some type of way about that. All right, they feel some type of way about that. We go back over to Middle Earth. and a Sildor has found him a piece of meat. You know what I'm saying? That he's interested in. All right. Little does he know that she's actually a follower of Adar. All right. She's finessing him. Okay. And if I don't know if people remember, but from the first season, they're mourning the loss. Arondir and Theo are mourning the loss of Browning, which is his mother. She got hit by one of the orc arrows, and the orc arrow got that shit in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You get hit
That
by
orc
one of
shit.
those, I mean, it's over. Yeah, it's Man, so they dip it right in orc shit. That was just right there. It said you definitely did. We dipped that right in the shit. Okay. Um. So that morning loss of Browning, of course, Theo's pissed at Arondir. And my favorite part of the show is Arondir because he kills folks. You know what I'm saying? Like Arondir gets things done. Like when it's time for the fight to go down, I'm like, where's Arondir at? You know what I'm saying? Because I know he
Yeah.
taking some folk out. You know what I'm saying? He kind of he
Yeah,
gives you
for
that
sure.
was it that same feel that Orlando Bloom did? Wasn't he Legolas in the original
Yep.
Lord of the Rings? Isn't that right? You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You seen Orlando Bloom come around with his bow and arrow, but I mean, folks were going down. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
I get that same feel
he
from
put like
Arondir.
6 arrows in that thing. Boom, and hit like 6 orcs at once. And they'd all be like, and then they'd fall off the fucking ledge, Like, God, that was when movies were good. Oh, it was so good. Here's the thing, it
Man,
makes me realize these movies that we hold dear and we cherish, we love Lord of the Rings. It's like a classic. It's like part of our fucking historical culture and background as a humanity. And like, it just goes to show, like, even our most heartfelt fucking stories are wrought with our need to like kill and fucking maim people. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
the whole fucking thing is just killing
and
and killing.
fornicate.
Right, like killing and fucking is like all life is about, as per if you listen to the movies, but not even fucking anymore. Not even fucking anymore. Just dressing up
Yeah,
as a girl.
Gen Z don't want to see sex in movies no more. No titties. No titties in
That's
movies.
I'm sorry. If you don't like titties, you're gay. That's all there is to it. Which is fine. But just, if you don't like titties, that's why.
Oh man, that's completely it. Okay, if you don't get why, this is why. Okay. Oh boy, that's good. Let's- so of course it had the moment, and I think you talked about this briefly yesterday. They had a little character development with Isildur's horse.
I know, right? Like drives me fucking nuts. Like they did such a good job about character development in like 30 seconds with Isildur's horse, and he was a special horse, and you know,
It said
you came
it
to
couldn't be
you came to
tamed by
give a fuck.
anybody else.
You came to give a fuck about this horse in like 30 seconds, and that is just master. It's not even writing because there's no fucking writing going on. It's what is that? Is that cinematography? What the fuck is it? It was good. Whoever did that, why didn't they get to write the rest of the shit? Because they built the development of a character of a horse in 30 seconds, whereas I've been watching this thing for a fucking season and a half, and like the main characters ain't even got development going on. So it's unbelievable. Like this show is so contradictory to me, man. Like because it's like it's so much money and it's polished. Like it's the most polished turd that's ever been in the history of
Oh,
fucking
dude!
turds.
If you talk about the show is beautiful.
Beautiful, stunning. And there's so many aspects of it where they tell a story in like no words. They just the cinematography tells the story.
Hmm.
And then like they start to rope in their fucking mouths, and I'm like, just shut up, just stop it. This is bad. Okay, so I don't understand. It's like you got a bunch of fucking old seasoned people working with a bunch of fucking retards. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like the middle management are fucking excellent, and the fucking people doing the work are just dumb. It's terrible. I mean, are they saving money? No, they're no. I forgot they spent $700 million. They're not saving money. What the fuck? How the fuck do they not have
Yeah,
every famous actor in Hollywood in this fucking thing and every famous
yeah, you,
director?
yeah.
If
You
you
should
went
be
to
able to
like,
afford it.
yeah, you go to any Hollywood director and say, "Hey, I'll give you $700 million. What can you do with it?" They'll come back with, they'll make you a 20 fucking hour goddamn masterpiece. You know what I mean? Like, fuck.
Oh, but it's crazy. It's crazy. So this little side story with Theo and a Rondere and a Sildor. Of course, the horse ends up finding a Sildor. He's in the spider cave. All right. So of course, it's the special bond. Sildor's dad couldn't get the horse to go onto the boat, and they're like, "Let it go." And it went. It's like I'm going to find a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to find a Sildor. Y'all just left him behind to die, not me. All right. So it's just like what you were saying, the development of the horse, real quick.
Right.
Like, okay, this horse is about his business. Okay, I got you. So Theo ends up getting captured by the people who are maybe with the Dar, or maybe not, or maybe have escaped the Dar. I'm not even sure anymore.
No.
Um, but then the tree folk got them. You know what I'm saying? And I thought it
And
was funny when is around there has thou's hand touched wooded axe or some shit.
you say no.
Right?
You're supposed to say no.
Yeah. He said, "Oh yeah, I did back in the day, but I had to." Oh
You better have some situational awareness.
no, man, not me. Wooded axe? I don't even know what you're talking about. Blade? No, man. The only blade I got is for cutting flesh, but that's it. Arondir's like, oh yeah, I remember chopping a tree down back in the day. Damn, buddy, come on, Arondir. Look, Bo, your arrows ain't gonna work on these cats. I don't know what you're gonna do. So that was kind of a random set aside. We've got this side love story with the Sildor and this chick,
But this
which
chick, of course,
she's
she's a
not
hoe.
hot.
Not hot. And
She's not,
she's
and she's
fucking,
not hot.
and she's doing, she got some other man on the side who just happens to show up and break the dude's heart on the spot. Like, but here, I got to comment on this. That is the story of motherfucking life. Let me tell you this. I don't give a goddamn fuck. The split second you fucking start to dig somebody, let me tell you, their fucking baby daddy going to show up and rob you of your fucking glory. Something's going to fucking happen. I swear to God. So I give them props on putting in that ultra realistic fucking scene right there.
Yeah, it was. He was going in for the kiss, and then came right in with a smooch. I said, "Damn, man, boy, Isildur, you been looking at this chick's eyes and all that stuff. He was looking deep in her eyes too. I was like, Isildur, you better slow down, bud. That Punani, hey, tell me Punani won't trip you up. That shit have you tripped right up, boy. Be looking like a Isildur out here. He looked like a damn whoop dog afterwards too. Man had his lip poked out and everything. I'm like, Bo, that wasn't even a good looking hit, man. That's a slow Tuesday. What that is, Bo. Come on, man. Man over here pouting over a slow Tuesday. Come on, cuz. But we'll jump into this last point. Aaron and Galadriel, they go out and they're going to warn Celebrimbor, which is too late. I wonder, you know what? Before I say this, because they got to eventually get to Celebrimbor. When they get there, are they going to notice that the Anatar was Hillebrand?
It's the same face with different ears.
Yeah.
Hey man, they went like 5 movies and nobody knew that Clark Kent was Superman, and all he had was a pair of glasses. So who the fuck knows? Who knows?
That's gonna be the real question. But of course they're trying to. Of course they went into multiple traps. The orcs show up, and so Galadriel sends the ring with Elrond, and she's fighting off the orcs. And right there at the end, you see where it looks like she gets captured by Adar. Okay, and so that's where this ends. So, Corey, thoughts on where this could go for the rest of the season? Because we're doing 2 episodes on this. We're doing this mid season. We're doing end season.
Are we gonna get?
Because I'm
Hold
gonna
on.
be honest with you.
Are they gonna string out 4 weeks in a row, 4 more episodes? Or are we getting like some doubled up or what?
I know they're gonna do 4 more weeks
Okay, gotcha,
because the
gotcha.
last episode is October 4th.
Um, Unfortunately, that's gonna be here before you know it. It's gonna be like that's like 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
okay. I don't know what we're gonna do this season because I really don't know where the story's going. I don't know how far into the lore they're digging. I don't know how accurate they're gonna be this here. Let me say this: it seems like they got their act together a little bit better than the first season. That's
You
about all
think
I'm
so?
gonna say about it. A little bit, slightly, yeah. But I mean, you spend $700 million, dude. You're gonna polish a turd. You're gonna upend the whole universe.
Right. I'm gonna be honest with you. So the first 4 episodes, I would kind of say I was just kind of bored. I was just kind of like,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: the show is really good at getting me intrigued in the moment. Um,
right. Hmm.
it'll come on, and I'll be like, I'm watching it, and I'm watching it intently the whole time because what they're showing me is intriguing, whether
Hmm.
storyline or because it's visually, grabbing or whatever. But I find it to be very compelling to watch it. And then I'll be like a half hour later and I'm like, damn, like nothing really has fulfilled my
Yeah.
compulsion, you know?
Hmm.
But they do a good job of getting me to want to watch.
Right. Right.
I'm trying to
Okay.
give them the
Okay.
benefit of the doubt here.
Well, it's well, I see what they're trying to. So they're going for, and which I'm fine with this. You can have a more of a dialogue driven type of show, um, but you kind of need
Yeah,
a
for like probably a
payoff.
couple 100 million less. Yeah.
But you need to have some type of payoff though in those dialogue driven shows. So um, I think sometimes the maybe the pacing might be just a touch too slow at times. Maybe they linger on some scenes probably a little bit longer than what I feel like they should. But that's kind of nitpicking. Well, when
Mhm.
you're sitting there and watching it, because these are hour long episodes, and hell, to be honest, we've been used to the past few things we've been watching. They ain't been but like 20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, so it seems like there's a lot, but the I think the issue that I have sometimes is that you're trying to jump on four different things that are happening at once, three or four different things that are happening at once, and it kind of dilutes everything. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll be with
Yeah.
Celebrimbor, and then you'll be with Galadriel, and then you'll be with Arondir, and then you'll be with the Harfoots. And the time that you're with the Harfoots, Bo, and the Stranger, man, that's time wasted. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like
Yeah.
that's the roughest part of the show.
And I think they know it because they didn't even hint that they were there for 2 episodes. It was the third episode that they pop up,
Yeah. Hmm.
and it's still their exposure has been somewhat limited, which is good. I think they know that people are making fun of them and shit. Like I said, these people don't need to be there except to be a throwback to the hobbits from the other stories. That's it.
Right. 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 So mid season score so far, Corey. How many cubes?
I'll go ahead and I'll just give it a 4.5.
I was right there around a four.
Yeah, higher than I did last year. It's sitting with me a little better, maybe because I'm just better prepared for it. You know,
Hmm.
I don't know, but I'm giving it more benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to at least. So,
And maybe we'll get a takeoff, seeing how we've had all this preliminary. Maybe we'll get a takeoff for the rest of the season.
well, you do know that we're
And
getting
we'll get something fire.
we're getting more movies, right? We're getting some movie called the Chase for Gollum or Following Gollum or something like that, right?
Oh, is that right?
Yep, 2 movies. It was going to be one movie, but they just announced it's going to be 2 movies, and it has Ian McKellen's going to be in it as Gandalf, and it's about they're seeking out Gollum. I don't know if this is like within the context of within the story of the Lord of the Rings or
Hmm.
what the fuck it is. But yeah, Google it. I'm sure you'll find some info.
Oh, okay. Okay. Search for Gollum. Let's see what we got here, guys. Search for Gollum. Oh, the hunt for Gollum. Man, what is this, man? Huh, are you showing me something a British fantasy fan film?
No, 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 no. No, I just saw
Oh,
this
okay. Oh,
yesterday.
hold on. Okay. Okay. Warner Brothers to release new Lord of the Rings movie, The Hunt for Gollum, 2026. Peter Jackson to produce. Okay. So it's in the early
Everybody needs a
stages of
paycheck.
the
It's
script.
been a couple years. Everybody needs a paycheck.
Let's see. It's early in the script. Is it telling us anything? It's not telling us anything about the movie though. So I don't exactly know what it's going to be about per se. It just says that it's slated for 2026. So have to see what that is. So
Yeah.
uh so um maybe we'll see what we got for the rest of this season of the Rings of Power. We'll be back with y'all the second week of October to wrap this thing up in one big bow. Okay, and so let us know your thoughts. Are you watching the Rings of Power? I seen something where Neurotic said that it had lost like half of its viewers from the previous year. I think it had like it's like 1.8. It was down like 900,000.
I got you. That's terrible.
So yeah, 1.8 million a year before or 2 years ago. The, and we keep saying this. The main issue that they're having is that man, there's such a big gap in between when they're putting seasons out. Like you about forget everything that happened. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not continuous. If you don't get something out again in like 6 months, then it's just like shit, dude. I done watched a bunch of other stuff, and you talking about 2 years later. You're like, damn, bro. I need to go back and see
Hmm.
what actually happened because you can't
Yep.
remember everything. So I think that's one of the issues that's actually hindering a lot of these projects. You can't really get good traction when there's just such a big gap in between it. That's why I kind of feel like sometimes if you're able to wait for something to come out in its entirety, however many seasons it's going to be, and then kind of binge it, you a lot of times you can get a better overall feel of the project. So you know, there's not a lot you can do there because there's too many streaming services. Everybody's spread thin. They're putting too much shit out. That's just all there is to it. Okay, so that's this episode of Showtime with the Cube Rings of Power mid-season review. Let us know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. We'll be back with y'all tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern for Beyond the Cube. It will be shenanigans tomorrow night. Okay, there's no doubt about it. All right, because we already did the debate, so it's going to be pure shenanigans. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Be ready for that. From your boy HQ420, the powerful one, Corey Hughes. We're going to catch y'all on the next Showtime with the Cube. Peace out.